Hello, today we will discuss a new architecture of LDOs called fully on-chip LDOs or capless LDO. In this architecture, there is no large output capacitor in the circuit and hence it is called a capless LDO. Before we go into deeper understanding, let us take a look into what is the motivation for having these fully on-chip circuits. And like we say, the motivation for fully on-chip LDOs. Like the name says, it is fully on-chip. It does not have any external capacitor. So when there is no external capacitor, you do not have an external pin needed to connect it externally. No external pin needed. Second, since there is no pin needed, it is lower cost. Lower cost of implementation. So because you don't have any off-chip components needed, so that will reduce your overall BOM cost and you can manufacture everything internally. So your BOM is less. Other advantage, since there is no capacitor used, the area is lower, and as the area is lower, you can have large number of LDOs within the chip. Right? So this typical chip, when we refer, this will either be your product chips or SOCs or test chips, anything. Right? Then, since there is no external chip needed, you don't need a short circuit protection. You don't need to worry if there is any current that is going to flow or loss going to happen. Short circuit protection not required. Then you have a very simple startup circuit. You don't need to worry about a lot of things in this. But nothing comes free in this world. Likewise, there are certain trade-offs that you'll have to do. So on the other side, you have this has poor load and line transient response. Right? And secondly, it also has a lot of complex designs. And why do you need complex designs? Apart from the simpler startup, the complex design will come into the compensation, frequency compensation, right? Load operation, right? Low load versus full load. So with these conditions, you will now have to look into the design aspects going forward. Let us look at the challenges that the capless LDOs have, and one of the first one is the poor transient response. Since we don't have an output capacitor, we do not have a large charge reservoir present. And in the case that you have a sudden current demand in your circuit, the loop is slow to respond. And during that time, you will not be able to get the right amount of regulation here. So sometimes what happens is you can have some amount of on-chip capacitor, but it is never generally enough. On-chip capacitors typically are in the ranges of picofarads, and output capacitors typically are in the range of microfarads. You can have a trade-off to put a nanofarad capacitor if needed. But let us do a quick math calculation to drive home the point how much charge is needed. Now suppose you have a current requirement. The current requirement is about, suddenly it goes up and you need 50 milliampere of current, and the voltage you are trying to recover at most 50 millivolt in the time 10 nanosecond. Now let us quickly add this value. So 50 milliampere in 10 nanosecond, while ensuring the voltage does not drop below 50 millivolt, and you can recover from your ideal regulated value. So if you look at it, we have all the details here. It says I is C dV by dt. So instantaneous change of voltage over time will give you the value. So if you find out what is the capacitance requirement and you fill in the values, you see the value. I is about 50 milliampere, dV by dt is 50 millivolt over 10 nanosecond. And if you see, the value of the cap comes out to be 10 nanofarad. Now, this is a large value. This much amount of area will not be sufficient. How do we know it's a very large value? In typical processes, especially with the nanometer process, the ratio is about 10 femtofarad per micrometer square. So this is the capacitance density that you see. Now for this kind of a capacitance density, what is the value it takes to get 10 nanofarad? So that would be 10 nanofarad over 10 femtofarad times 1 micrometer square. So this is 10 power 6. So to implement this, you will need about 10 power 6 micrometer square of area. This is extremely large area even to implement either a min cap, which is typically the requirement, or even if you try a mom cap. So you will have a poor transient response based upon the absence of the capacitor that is present here. Okay, let's look at the second challenge that you spoke about, design complexity. Now here, this particular circuit will have a lot of design complexity for two reasons, or at least four reasons. So the first one is you need to define the transient requirements very carefully. You cannot have really large transient requirements in this, and you should also have, this is suitable for small values. A large transient current will not be sufficient. Second, it requires a more complex frequency compensation. Complex frequency compensation. What do you mean frequency compensation? When you are working with different kinds of loads operating at different frequencies, you will see. We will look into that slides next. Third one, you will have to have circuits to sense or detect these transient changes, sudden transient changes, right? Because you will also have to make the loop respond to it accordingly. Then fourth, you will also need to take care of some dynamic biasing circuits to ensure these are all functioning. Now these are the four. Now let us look into each one of them a little more in detail.